All right. Good morning to all of you here on the West Coast and Mountain Standard Time. Good early afternoon, I guess it is, over on the East Coast. Noon Eastern Standard Time over there where Tracy Q is in New York. So, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. It is Monday, December the 27th, 2021. Hope you're all doing well. I'm looking forward to this today's headline hits and getting back in the groove of things. We had a great devotional this morning with Brother Jay out of Texas. Tomorrow we got a special guest as well, and I don't know. 2022 is going to be a very busy year for LWN Network, and we are excited on what is coming down the road at us. So let's get into the news. McCarthy, all but one House Dem voted for more, listen to me, IRS agents to spy on Americans, opening border with spending bill. Okay, so I know there's talk out there that the IRS is dissolved, this, that, and the other. Listen, folks, here it is right in front of you. That's it's right in front of you. So it looks like the House Democrats voted for 87,000 IRS agents to be hired to spy on you. They voted also for the border illegals to become legal citizens. And that is all part of the Build Back Better reconciliation bill. Okay. Um, that's just crazy. So all of these illegals coming across the border, and I'll touch on it again in another headline. They're wanting to give them amnesty. And it seems like every time a Democrat gets in the White House or the Democrats have control of the Senate or the Congress, they're always trying to push this amnesty to illegal, and I'll say that one more time, illegal immigration. It's insanity to give these guys a free pass. So think about all the legal immigrants that come here that go through the process. They do all the hard work to become a citizen of the United States, and these guys get moved to the front of the line. Not right, not right at all. It's a bunch of horse, you know what? And it's a shame that they're allowing this to happen. So McCarthy said Democrats made a fatal mistake and Nancy Pelosi made a fatal mistake. Remember, they all said they won't pass a bill in the House until it is already had been conference to the Senate and make sure that it passed in the Senate. So basically, what they're saying is until both houses, both chambers talk about it and say, yes, that's what we want. Yes, we'll pass that. They weren't going to put anything out there like that, but they have changed their mind and decided that they're going to push forward with it. So it's in the news. So let's talk about more immigration. So here's an exclusive from Mark Morgan. White House and Democrats are trying to pass through a massive amnesty as part of the infrastructure bill. Okay. So the former chief operating officer and acting commissioner for Customs and Border Protection, the CBP, has stated that the Biden administration and Democrats intend to include a mass amnesty proposal for illegal aliens in the appropriation bill by the White House as the bipartisan infrastructure bill. So again, we just touched on that. They're just they're ruining America. That's all I can tell you is they're trying really hard. And I hope that the Republicans have some stones and will stand up to this and say, no, not happening on my watch. We're not going to allow this to happen. We're not going to push this through. Can they block it? Can they stop it? That's to be seen. I don't know if they can or they can't. I've been questioning for months now. The Democrats have the House, they have the Senate, and they have the White House. They have all three branches, and it seems like they're having a hard time passing some things through. And is that by the grace of God that He's protecting us? Man, I sure hope so, because they could really do some damage to America if they were totally unleashed and could just go crazy with all kinds of stuff that they could push through there. All right, let's move on to my favorite person besides old Puddin' Pop. Let's talk about old Falsey. So he was quoted again over the weekend of making some statements that I totally disagree with. So the vacation requirement for domestic air travel. Now we've talked about this before, but here we go again with old Falsey putting out his propaganda and his nonsense, and I want to spotlight it. So he says on the requirements, it would be welcome. Okay, so let's talk about it real quick. What he's stating is quote the co-host quote, there is no vacation requirement for domestic air travel in the United States, and when the president was asked should there be one, he said that his team has said it is not necessary at this point. Now that means the Biden administration. Do you agree with that? Question mark. That there shouldn't be a vacation requirement for domestic travel. So he's asking Falsey a straight up question, and this is his response. Quote, well, it depends on what you want to use it for. Now, listen to what he's saying here. I mean, vacation requirements for people coming in from other countries to prevent newly infected people from getting into the country, period. A vacation requirement for a person getting on a plane is just another level of getting people to have to bow down and take and comply and consent, and that would spur them to get a vacation. Did you just hear what I said? He's pushing this propaganda still, and he'll never quit. Namely, you can't get on a plane unless you are vacationed. Quote, which is just another way, just another one of the ways that getting requirements, whatever that may be. So I mean, and I'm quoting this. It sounds stupid. Anything that could get people more vacationed would be welcome. So they try everything they possibly can to control us, to force us to take the mandates. You can't go into a restaurant, you can't go to an event, you can't do this, you can't do that unless you've been vacationed. So now they're looking at domestic flights. All right, so I found this pretty interesting. We talked about this last week, which is the fleeing, and I mean fleeing, of all these blue states, the population leaving. So I thought this article was pretty interesting. Census, 1% of California's population moved out of the state in 2021. Okay. So let's go further into that. California lost 1% of its population over the last year as residents fled for other states. Okay. Why are they fleeing? We all know why, because of the mandates, because of the diaper, the face covering mandates, because of the vacation mandates. For you to work, for you to have a job, you have to have a vacation. It just you got to be locked in your house. You can't do this. You can't do that. So, the residents of California and other blue states have made the conscious decision, not here, pal. We're out of here. So they packed their bags like the Beverly Hillbillies. They sold everything, packed it all in the car, and they fled California. Where did they go? Well, they went to states like Texas and Arizona and Idaho. They've been all over the place. So let's dive a little deeper into this. So in the 2021, 20 states and the District of Columbia, 20 states and the District of Columbia lost residents because of the domestic migration due to the mandates. The largest domestic migration losses were in California. Get this number. This is mind-boggling. 367,299 people left California this year so far, and they're still fleeing. The year's not up yet. We still got another week to go. So I have no idea when this report came out, but I'm sure it could probably get close to 400,000 in another week. Who knows? New York lost 352,185 people. Illinois lost 122,460 people to domestic migration because of mandates. And where did they go? They went to Florida, Texas, and Arizona. So for all you Floridians, for all you Texans, for all you people in Arizona, welcome these people with open arms, but just be firm on your stance that if you come here, you're not going to bring your baggage with you. You're not going to bring your politics with you. We're red for a reason, and we're not going to allow this state to turn blue. On to other news. Fact check. Here we go. I like this one. And I can only read so much of this and talk about so much of this because I can't even stand to look at this person or even read quotes because it's stupid. Kamala Hills Up Harris repeatedly lied about the Afghan debacle, the departure in Afghanistan. She lied about it repeatedly on Sunday. The vice president Kamala Harris repeatedly lied about the botched Afghanistan withdrawal during her interview on Sunday. Let me read some of the stuff that she said real quick. I fully support the president's decision to, after what I was taking on the fact of being an endless war. I sound dumb even reading this stuff because that's how dumb these people are. Of pulling American troops out. And I think it's really important to remember, and here we go, the previous administration negotiated a deal with the Taliban, did not invite the Afghan government to be at the table. Now, that's an absolute bold-faced lie, and that's what this administration does. They lie, lie, lie. And then she goes further to say, and negotiated a deal that required and promised as part of the agreement that we would pull out by the end of May. So we were saddened with the responsibility based on the agreement between the United States and the Taliban. So, it's more finger pointing, blaming the previous administration when we all know that T had in my opinion, probably a pretty good plan to vacate Afghanistan, and they went around it. They didn't go with his plan. They went with their plan, and you saw the results. People, our soldiers, our men and women lost their lives over in Afghanistan because of their negligence, because of their insanity, because of their stupidity. Young people lost their lives, and I don't think that was necessary. I really don't think they needed to lose their lives, to be honest with you. Okay, Hannah Jones makes a quote, and Hannah Jones, I'll explain to who she is here in a minute. Parents, listen to me. Parents shouldn't decide what's being taught in schools. Leave that to the educators. So who is this Hannah Jones? Well, if you look into it a little further, Nicole Hannah Jones, listen, 1619 project creator and professor. What is 1619 project? Look it up. It's pretty scary. It's as scary as critical race theory. I can tell you that. So what she says is that parents should not be in charge of deciding what is taught in schools. I don't really understand this idea that parents should decide what's being taught. I'm not a professor. I'm not a professional educator. I don't have a degree in social studies or science. We send our children to school because that's what we want them to be taught by people who have experience in the subject area. And that's not my job, end quote. So she goes on to talk about how it shouldn't be up to us parents what's taught in the school. She even docks homeschooling, that we shouldn't homeschool our children. It's not our job to teach our children. Lady, if it's not our job to teach our children, then whose job is it? Because before the education system, before these big, massive schools, it was parents' job to educate their children. And we had smaller schools and smaller school districts. You're wrong on that. And Project 1619. That's somebody I don't want ever involved in my child's education. This is something for Deanna and Sarah and Elaine in Humboldt County, because I know Deanna, she's been concerned about health officials in her county not living in the state of California. So here's something else that's going on in the state of California, Deanna. Two California education officials living in Texas and Pennsylvania resign for violating state policy. Two high ranking California Department of Education officials resigned this month because they do not actually live in California. Does that like make you guys wonder what the hell's going on? Why would we have anybody in positions of state or county or city government being in those positions and not living in the state? That just doesn't even make sense to me. And you can read further in this article where it says the state of California allows certain positions, especially in the state of education and stuff, to live out of state. But that is because they are in DC as lobbyists. So they're allowing their professionals to leave the state and go to Washington, D.C. and become lobbyists. It also goes on further to say that Texas is one of the 17 states where California has banned state-funded travel for their state employees. So there are 17 states that California does not allow their educators or these people in these positions to actually live. And I could imagine most of those 17 states are probably red states. You want to bet? You want to bet me on that? Okay, exclusive. Jaco Booyans. I don't know if I said his name right, but listen to this. This is pretty important article, and it's about our children. Pornograph is the feeder gateway drug to child sex trafficking. Okay, this article goes on to talk about warning about the decade of differences and the easy access to porn that children have nowadays. And what the article is talking about is back in the early 90s, the 80s, the 70s, um, young men, if they were going to go get some porn, then they had to go to the gas station and they had to try to convince the clerk behind the counter that they were at least age 18 before they could get their hands on the dirty magazines. Okay. The 70s, the 80s, early 90s, it was dirty magazines or VHS, right? But the article talks about since 1995 and the internet, now children have easy access or easier access in the 90s to porn. And then it goes further to talk about, and it's my opinion that nowadays, with the internet at the tips of your children's finger on their cell phones, they could just go to any porn site they want from their phone and look at that stuff. And he talks about how damaging it is to our children. And once it's seen, it can't be unseen. We can't turn it off. And he is referring to sexuality. He says, we're all sexual beings. So when there's a perversion of your sexuality, it's a dangerous place. It becomes internal. It's not an external drug. So he's warning us and pleading with us to be cautious of what our children have access to, because once they get that into their system, it's really hard to well, it's probably damn near impossible to get rid of it. So this next article is talking about Hollywood and the actors in Hollywood and what's going on in Hollywood. um, I don't know, it's talking about China and how recently and for a while now, the Hollywood elite are now running to China, and they're trying to get into China, the Chinese film market, the largest in the world as of 2020, when the Chinese sickness and pandemic shut America cinemas down and productions down. then these actors and actresses from the West started going over into China and becoming and playing big roles in the villains in the communist propaganda movies. Okay, so China, and I reported on this a while back. China is putting out a lot of anti-American propaganda films, and it seems like these Hollywood elites are going out there and they are being part of the movie. Isn't that wonderful? All right, I'm going to end on this note here. This is an amazing story about a wonderful young man, and I want to give him kudos. Okay, so a sixth grader honored for saving not one, but two lives in one day. We're all so proud. So listen to this story. This is an amazing young man. A sixth grader in Muskogee, Oklahoma. So this is over there by Captain Finger, named Devon Johnson. I probably got his name wrong. Was able to use important life skills during a class recently. So check this out. So Devon was a student in a sixth and seventh grade academy, and he had to perform an abdominal thrust on his classmate who was choking on a bottle cap. That was on December the 19th. So I've seen kids in high school, they'll get a soda pop or whatever, and they'll take the cap off and start chewing on it. Well, I guess this young person was chewing on it and swallowed it, got lodged in their down in their throat, and Devon went over there and gave them the Heimlich and saved their life. Okay, and then it goes further to say, then a few hours later, the young man rescued a woman from a burning home. So then he put his old fireman hat on and went to work and saved a woman from a burning home. So the officials of the Muskogee Police Department and the county sheriff's office and the school district later commended him during the board of education meeting and gave him an award and put him up on a pedestal, and rightfully so. What a wonderful young man to put his life on the line and pull a woman out of a burning building, burning home, and then help a classmate from choking. So, ending the day of headline hits with a beautiful story like that, I think is a good way to start your day. So, thanks for joining us here on Headline Hits. I hope you all enjoyed it and have a great day. And we'll, just so you guys know, we do have Podbean later this afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it will be me and Jeff B. So we'll be on Podbean later this afternoon, and we'll continue our series on how Mega began. So hopefully you guys will join us over there at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Love y'all. Have a great day. We'll see you at Podbean.